Good evening, one and all. Welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Mecca here on Rocky Top. I'm Cory Sanning, and I hope you're all buckled up because we have some bracketology here for you today. As you all know, it was an exciting first round matchup at first round in the NCAA. That's why we call it March Madness, and we are going to get straight to it. All righty, we are going to start here with Kentucky and Kansas State. We have Kentucky, who has been on an offensive tear lately. They are SEC Freshman of the Year, Kevin Knox, 16 points a game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been playing out of his mind. Going up against the Kansas State Wildcats, led by Dean Wade, might not be available this weekend with a stress fracture. We are going against two of the hottest teams in the country right now, and I gotta admit to you, Kentucky's 126th ranked defense has me worried. But in the end, John Calipari, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Kevin Knox, P.J. Washington will all have enough to get it done. Kentucky will be moving on. Kansas State will be going home, and we will see the Big Blue once again advance into the NCAA tournament. Loyola, Chicago, and Nevada, the team that dealt Tennessee perhaps one of their most painful losses in basketball history. We have the Cinderella story going up against one of the most terrific offenses in the country. They are currently ranked 15th with 83 points per game. Now, we have to see this every year with teams that get hot and get on runs. But at the end of the day, Loyola Chicago's Cinderella run, sorry, is coming to an end. Nevada will be advancing and will move on to play Kentucky. Moving on, Florida State Seminoles versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga, a regular in the tournament for years and years and years, always earning a high seed. Here we have the Seminoles, who knocked off #1 Xavier just a few days prior. We have Gonzaga, who is 10th in the country in scoring, and they're shooting over 50% as a team. That is unheard of in NCAA tournament territory. We are moving deep, and I hate to break it to my cousin, but the Seminoles run will come to an end. Gonzaga will advance, and we will see them moving on. There will be no upset this year in terms of the Gonzaga. Now, Michigan, Texas A&M. What a tough matchup we're going to have. You have Mortis Wagner, who is averaging 14.2 points per game. You have that crazy buzzer-beating shot that we just got through witnessing for the Wolverines. They've made noise in the tournament for several years, reaching the championship game just a few seasons ago. Now, Texas A&M, here we have a team averaging 75.3 points, 46% shooting during the regular season, and they just hung 84 points on the North Carolina Tar Heels, one of the better teams in the country, led by one of the better point guards in the country in Joel Berry. Now, this is a tough one, and it came down to the wire. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to pick the Michigan Wolverines to move on. Texas A&M, I am sorry. The Wolverines will move on to the Elite Eight, and we will see the Maize and Blue once again advancing in the NCAA tournament. Moving on, Villanova, West Virginia. Villanova, one of the hottest teams in the country offensively. They've proved it all season long. They have one of the best offensive ratings, and you definitely do not see that often, especially when it comes to these Wildcats who just 2 years ago won the national title. Now, West Virginia, this is going to be a tough matchup. It was a tough pick. Like I said, West Virginia is one of the better teams in the country. They've been playing good as of late. But at the end, the higher seed, I will think, advance. We will see Nova move on to the Elite Eight. Once again, moving on to Texas Tech and Purdue. This is a tough one. Purdue Boilermakers have been fantastic all season, despite dropping early round games to Tennessee this year. But at the end of the day, when you look at the numbers, Purdue, they are second ranked in offense. And we've seen teams this tournament like Tennessee. Tennessee was one of the top 5 defensive teams in the country. At the end of the day, they could not score enough points to get it done. Purdue will beat Texas Tech. They will move on and face the #1 seed Villanova. And I am fully confident in that fact. Rock Chalk Jayhawks and the Clemson Tigers. What a matchup we are going to have there. Now, you have Kansas, who's 46th in defensive rating, but 5th in offense. And you have Clemson, who's 7th in defensive rating. You have two teams going head-to-head. You have the better offense versus the better defense. Usually, I will say defense wins championships, and that usually stands corrected. But whereas this is not the NBA, we're not going to see the best players in the world go at it. Better teams win. Kansas is better than Clemson. The Jayhawks will be moving on to the Elite Eight. Once again, quite a familiar face we've all seen there, right? Syracuse and the Duke Blue Devils. Coach K, Mike Krzyzewski, Grayson Allen, Marvin Bagley. These guys have been hot as of late. While they did fall in the ACC tournament to the Tar Heels, who ended up dropping the game, Duke, you can never bet against in the tournament, and I'm not going to start betting on them here with Syracuse. Now, while you say the Syracuse, they're 139th in offense. 139 teams are better than Syracuse at scoring the ball. Kansas, they're 5th. How can you bet against that? You can't bet against that. Duke, moving on. Kentucky and Nevada. What a matchup we're going to have here. I'm betting on the Wildcats once again. Pains me to do that, but Coach Cal will get his team over the hump and get them to the Final Four once again. This is unheard of for a team that finished the regular season outside of the AP poll, but Kentucky has turned it on when it mattered, winning the SEC tournament in a landslide. They've gotten hot from the outside. Their offensive slowing. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has played terrific, and he will be the reason that they move on and beat Nevada. Gonzaga and Michigan. Now, normally I'm not on the Wolverines side. Normally I definitely would not pick them in a situation like this. They have been the arch nemesis of Ohio State for years. Ohio is where I'm from, but at the end of the day, Michigan, you'll be in the Final Four once again. I'm picking the Wolverines to move on. They will upset Gonzaga. Many of you will probably disagree with me, but at the end of the day, you'll see I stand corrected. The Wolverines will move on. We will see them in the Final Four once again, and that will end up proving to be an exciting matchup with the Kentucky Wildcats. Nova and Purdue. Now, these are two offensive teams that are capable of lighting it up any given night. It's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a close battle. I don't think the defenses will step up as much. You'll see it'll be a relatively high-scoring game, what we see in college basketball. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to go with the higher seed. Purdue will not make a Cinderella appearance in the Final Four. Nova will move on. And now, Kansas and Duke. This is going to be a tough one because you have two of the most storied programs in college basketball. You have Coach K. You have all the players up there. You have the tradition. You have Kansas. Marvin Bagley. You have all these guys. This is going to be a tough matchup. Two of the most successful programs. Going to see, I hate to say it, you're going to see Grayson Allen lead his team to the Final Four to play against Nova. And Duke, and there you have it. Kentucky and Michigan, Duke and Villanova. Let us know what you guys think. These are my predictions. Now I definitely will tell you this is going to be an interesting matchup, and we will definitely see who's going to be the better team out of all these four because they all have the same shot at getting to the national title game. They've all been terrific. They're all hot. And in the end, the hottest team sometimes wins. So we'll see what happens. Let us know what you think. I'm Cory Sanning for Sports Mecca. Hope you enjoyed the segment. We will see you next time.